Hello.
Hey guys!
Hello.
Welcome along. Hopefully you can see us at the moment, and we are now live on the worldwide interwebs. Let us know. Give us a shout in chat. Can you see us? Can you hear us? Welcome along.
Like
welcome along.
Hey.
It looks like it. I mean, either that or they're just waving just to be nice. It's difficult to say at this point.
All collectively awkward.
Yeah, I think that's generally how it goes. Really, that's on life in general. But anyway,
Totally.
Before I start summing up the entirety of my social life in 2020, welcome to our content creator panel. This is, of course, being brought to you by the lovely guys at RetroUnlim in association with Replay Events, to make up for the fact that we obviously don't have events going on right now in that whole outside world type place that I've heard of vaguely. We've decided to move them all online.
Yeah.
So what I will do is go through, introduce our lovely guests to you, and then I shall ask them a few questions, at which point we shall hand the power over to you guys, despite what happened last time, to start asking us questions. So get your questions ready, start putting them in chat, and we will get through as many of them as we can. So we have with us today the legendary Kim Justice.
Legendary? Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. Yes, hello. I'm Kim Justice. YouTube, Twitch, Patreon. Yeah.
Legend. I gave you the word legend, Kim.
Thank you. And yes, legend. God.
You've upgraded straight away. Upgraded to God straight away. We're like 10 seconds into the stream, Kim. So we have now apparently God Kim Justice, which makes the justice part even more terrifying. We have her of the mouth typos. We have Aravelle.
Hello, I will try really hard not to say something stupid, but I will fail. So you've been warned.
Setting expectations correctly from the get-go. That's good business, that is.
The bar is very low.
That's good. That's good. You're very good at limbo. Very good at limbo.
Very good.
That's how we're pitching that. We have the awesome retrotastic Tamaracade.
Hello. And I will try very hard to say something stupid.
Excellent. Also setting expectations correctly there. And we also have the wonderful Retro Faith. Hello.
Hello. I'll try not to be too Essex for you.
That's probably not something that we can actually guarantee. Essexness may occur.
Yes, the Essex is very strong for myself and Retro Faith. We will try, but we're not promising anything.
Oi!
Again, 10 seconds into the stream, there's shouting. I like it. Starting as we mean to go on. We were also going to be joined by the wonderful Lady Decade. They have had to take a rain check. She said something about being offered 40 crowns and she vanished. I don't know what happened there, but hopefully she will return triumphantly for the next one. So much love to the awesome Lady Decade as well. So I'm going to start off by asking the guys some general questions each, just the standard things that we need to go through so people know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people here already know who these wonderful guys are, but let's just make sure. I will start by picking on Kim, because I always do. It's just tradition at this point. Plus, Kim is now self-declared as a god, so I'm slightly scared to not ask him.
I wouldn't say that I'm the Messiah. It's just that he smiles upon me.
Okay, yeah, that's that. Moving swiftly and awkwardly on. It's fine. If we annoy Kim, they may strike us down with lightning. Just saying. So I'd like to know from all of you guys, starting with Kim, because I always pick on Kim first. Tell us in a couple of lines what it is you do and what drew you to gaming content creation. Starting with Kim.
Sure. So basically I kind of started doing stuff on YouTube. Well, I still do stuff on YouTube, like about 8 years ago now I started doing it, a long time. Kind of gradually went to start doing like documentaries about old British software houses, old games, kind of anything that springs to mind, wrestling, lots of different stuff. Now kind of I do a lot of stuff on Twitch as well, where we play retro games and just talk about wimpy, food, just endless old types of food really, and I do really stupid impressions and it's kind of a mess where people just constantly walk in and think, "What the bloody hell have I just entered into?"
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty much what I thought the first time I walked into one of your streams. But it's also amazing and fun, and your impressions are spot on. Spot on. I thought you had a whole cast of guests. They're absolutely phenomenal and definitely plausible as the whoever they're supposed to be. So, Aravelle, would you like to tell the lovely people a little bit about yourself and how you ended up as a content creator?
I just thought, I've got nothing better to know. I'm kidding. I started on Twitch 5 years ago now, because I started a YouTube channel and I cannot edit. Can't edit to save my life. And some people suggested that maybe I should try Twitch instead. So I did, and I loved it because I can talk to people one-on-one and talk to people in the group, and there is no way to edit out the stupid stuff that I do on the regular. I play a lot of indie games that people may not have heard of. There's usually a lot of WTF moments in my streams. And as you mentioned, the mouth typos, because apparently English is a challenge.
It's a complicated language. I struggle with it sometimes.
I do create
myself.
my own words a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I think you make it more complicated by creating more words. You're adding to the English language in a hilarious and entertaining manner, though. So
exactly.
I think
you should be praised.
Yes, I am very pleased. I better write that one down. I feel like it might come up again. So, Tamaracade, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into content creation?
Hello. So I just make videos on YouTube just about like retro games, usually stuff that I find kind of interesting and stuff that's a bit weird. Like for example, my latest video is on an obscure piece of mid-noughties German shovelware, which also happened to be the last game on the PS1. It's utter rubbish, but it's interesting that it exists. You know, who releases a PS1 game in 2005? But it happened, and I just sort of got into it, mainly because I was watching a lot of YouTube and content creators at the time, including the wonderful Kim Justice, who's on stream today. And I just thought, that looks fun, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, awesome. And I think it's lovely to see how many people are inspired by other YouTubers and the camaraderie that we've got in a lot of the community, especially in the gaming and indie and retro scenes. And speaking of retro, the lovely Retro Faith, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Trista. So I'm a retro game journalist. I do have a YouTube channel, but that's more of a side gig to my website, where I'll report on retro indie games that come out on old systems that are modern, and I also do a bit of Twitch here and there. So I kind of cover a lot of different things. My speciality subject is definitely Sonic, of which I have spent 20 years passionately cataloging every Sonic variant, and also specialized in the Dreamcast. So Sonic and Dreamcast is my thing, and I like writing about it.
Yeah, well, little bit of a Sega and Sonic fan person myself, so I approve thoroughly of your choice of subject matter. Yes, all the geek t-shirts, excellent. So I'd like to ask you all just a couple of questions before we throw out to the oh dear god, why am I letting them ask questions again lovely audience. So I shall go through and just ask you a couple of things, and I wanted to ask well, I originally wanted to ask Kim Justice about the most complicated documentary you've ever created, but then I looked at your latest video title. It's The Story of Alfred Chicken, the video game that ran for Parliament. I have questions.
Okay.
Any?
Okay, sure. It's actually kind of funny thing. It's something that what I love about doing like YouTube generally and like just online stuff in general is like discovering things, because I did not discover about the whole there was an Alfred Chicken party like to promote the game ran in a by-election in 1993. I didn't know about that. I do a thing on Twitch called an Amiga A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just play God knows good, bad, weird Amiga games, just go through the list. And got to Alfred Chicken, and someone said, oh, do you know there was a story about this Alfred Chicken run for MP?
Right.
I was like, what? This is like a few weeks back. and it's the sort of thing that as soon as like I think as you like people on YouTube can all kind of relate, you see something like your content antenna just start goes like you just say like, where is it? Where's that content? So I just immediately had to look it up, and it just all kind of naturally went from there. It's like, right, do this video, get it out. Has to be done. I have to look this up because I like weird facts like that are just manna from heaven.
Yeah, just the title of that video alone, I was like, how, what, where, why? And yeah, I think playing every single game in an A to Z is going to throw up some really interesting things. So I'm guessing that's not the most complicated one you've ever done, but possibly one of the weirdest ones. What was the most complicated documentary you've ever researched?
The one that was the longest research has to be the Sensible Software video. I mean, that took months of like work. I mean, obviously, one thing for that, lucky enough to actually have a chance to like, interview John Hare as well, and so that and it ended up just like going around his like hours. It ended up like being a bit unprepared. Did kind of almost run out of ways to actually catch this. Did have to end up like finish it on like a mobile phone, like just like quickly say this stuff in a mobile phone. Like this, we've got to do this now because I've got no space and there's a train to catch in like half an hour. Otherwise, I'll be stuck here for the night. It was that sort of thing. That was all a bit hectic. But yeah, that was a long one, but so worth it. Wonderful. Ended up being like. That ends up being like about 2.5 hours long as well. So yeah, a long edit on that. So yeah, it'd have to be that. Very proud of it though.
Yeah, and if anyone hasn't checked those out, I recommend checking both of them out, including to find out about this chicken, because I didn't have time to watch the video, only time to see the title, and now I can't get the thought out of my head of this pixelated 8-bit chicken standing in that Houses of Parliament, and it's very distracting. So thank you for that, Kim. That is the thought that's now with me in my head at all times. It's that or a small kind of monkey on a bicycle type situation going round and round. So Aravelle, you play a lot of I'm just going to use the word weird.
Yes.
Weird, unique, individual, slightly obscure, wonderfully creative indie games.
Yes.
And I would like to know what drew you to playing those kinds of games, how you find the games you play, and what's the weirdest one you've ever played?
Oh, good God. That means I've got to try and narrow down the weird.
I love the fact that's a difficult ask.
It really is a difficult ask. If you've ever played any of the Rusty Lake games, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the first things I remember from that was opening a grandfather clock and an old naked dead guy fell out and we got his heart out of his nipple. So it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, that wasn't the start I was expecting.
Sounds normal enough.
Exactly. I love point and click puzzle games, and it turns out that there's a lot of very strange ones out there, including the one that I just finished on stream on Thursday, which is a game called Lancelot's Hangover. The developers contacted me. It is a combination of if Monkey Island and Monty Python had a baby, that would be the game that I played, which, there was a father anus. There was the menstrual blood of the Holy Virgin Mary for a cocktail. I'm
starting to regret asking this question. Carry on.
I was a bit worried how much information I should give. I get approached by a lot of indie devs because I've sort of carved this niche of playing all these indie games. And by now, a lot of whom are in chat that I can see making lots of random references that other people won't get, are so used to the games getting steadily more strange and my reactions to this strangeness, because I still get surprised. And now it's become sort of we've got to find something more weird than the last one. But yeah, I just love playing games that people might not have seen elsewhere. If that gets a one-person dev, like for Lancelot's Hangover, a couple of sales, great. If it gets them a little bit more recognition for their game, awesome. If people watch it and then go, what the hell was that? I'm not touching it with a barge pole. At least they know. They've seen what it is.
They've been forewarned.
Exactly. My stream is rated mature for a reason. and it's not me, it's the games.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of your stream of Dance of Death, Delac and Faye, who I'd interviewed the creators of that game a while before it came out, when it was still in like a beta version.
Yes.
So I'd only played a bit of the beginning of it, and then I saw some of your stream of it and was like, this game is way weirder than I realized. Is it weirder because of it, just that's the direction it went in, or has the fact that Ara has got hold of the game somehow made the game strange?
I can't take credit for a dog drawing a pernus with its mouth. That I can't take credit for. That was coded into the game. But yeah, there's plenty of clips on my Twitch channel if you want to go and check that out.
I'm not sure if I do or not.
You should have been the one playing it and it suddenly happened. And yeah.
There is no escape.
Oh my lord.
So probably Rusty Lake is probably up there with the weirdest ones because of their unique vigils, I'm assuming.
Yes. They push the envelope a little bit. They didn't just jump the shark. They saddled it and rode it around a bit first. Yeah.
I like the
random.
way even your metaphors are weird.
You've met
How
me
do I
before.
describe this weird thing? A shark with a saddle.
Yes.
That's the way to describe this.
Saddle the shark.
Yeah, jump the shark, do backflips on the shark, Pilates standing on top of the. I don't even know at this point. And
Oh, I
to be
like that
fair,
one.
in the games you play, it's entirely not out of the realms of possibility.
No, it's not.
So moving swiftly on, partly because I feel like I'm slowly just pulling a more and more confused face the more words that are occurring in this conversation. I will head over to Tamaracade. And you hadn't been on YouTube that long the last time that we were lucky enough to have you on a panel. I would love to know how you found things in the last year and how things have evolved for you.
To be honest, I've been taking it kind of slow, to be honest. But yeah, it's been going all right. Making videos and yeah, it's
following. Yeah. What I would like to know as well, you are, of course, the historic discoverer of the world's first gaming hedgehog.
Oh yes.
And I'd like to know how you made this incredible discovery and why you felt to share it with the entire world. How did that video happen?
Basically, I was on eBay one day just looking for Spectrum games, and that came up, and I was like, "It's a hedgehog," and you know, being
and it's not blue.
Sega and Sonic fan, I thought, you know, I was quite surprised to see that there was another hedgehog before Sonic. So I slapped the bid down and I won. I think I only paid like £1 or something for it. It wasn't expensive. And then I got it and played it, and I was like, yeah, the world needs to know about Sonic's predecessor.
Yeah,
The
Sega
first
stole
hedgehog.
the idea. Much as I love Sega, apparently not the world's first gaming hedgehog. Would you say that that this is a better hedgehog than Sonic?
Well, he has a serious drinking problem.
Right. So not quite as child friendly as Sonic.
No.
I that also was not the answer I expected from there. Okay, so mouth typos, chickens running for parliament, and hedgehogs with drinking problems.
Yes.
I feel we're setting the tone nicely here.
Hammered hedgehog.
A hammered hedgehog. Yeah, his special move is just to lie in the corner and not go very fast. So we did talk about this briefly before, but would you be interested in adding streaming to your roster as well as the YouTube? And if so, what would you stream, and would it be a very slow drunk hedgehog?
I would love to start streaming. I just need to get a PC that isn't, you know, utter rubbish. Because at the moment I'm using a laptop that's so old that I keep having to shoo Neil Breen away because he's trying to come and knock it off the table. Just like, no, Neil, leave it.
I can see why that would be a problem in a live stream. Yeah.
And then he just starts throwing books and saying, no more books. So that's a bit annoying. So I need to get a proper PC that will keep Neil Breen away, that can, you know, actually stream things, and then I'll start streaming. it'll just be sort of like streaming anything, and there might be a slow alcoholic hedgehog making an appearance.
I bloody hope so.
In many of his incarnations on the different platforms, although I've only got the Spectrum one. So yeah, that and any other weird game that I find.
A retrospective of drunk hedgehogs. I like that. It's probably, the start of hedgehogs in gaming, drunk hedgehog, then Sonic all the way through. After Sonic 06, then he became a drunk hedgehog. It all went about downhill and then recovered again. So I think it's clearly an issue that we haven't addressed with pixelated hedgehogs. Is clearly some kind of drinking problem. So thank you for highlighting that important issue.
My research shows me that modern gaming is all about hedgehogs that are pregnant with SpongeBob SquarePants' baby and Shrek's there.
I think we're researching on different sites.
And you have to pay to watch every installment.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pay not to based on that short description. Okay, I'm learning things today. I don't know about you guys, but I am learning a lot of things today. Let's everything so far has just gone exactly to plan. I'm not at all weirded out by all of my wonderful guests here. So let's see if we can continue that trend, or if perhaps there will be any sway in the direction of sense. And with me and the host, this is unlikely. Retro Faith, you have 20 years experience as a gaming journalist. I would love to know what drew you to journalism, and specifically to gaming journalism as well.
I think it's about people. Like, I really like the stories that they have. When a lot of people sort of get into this sort of world, especially the modern world of content creating, where it's mostly about videos and streaming and things. I think sometimes we look too much at the actual games themselves and forget about the people behind them. So for me, it's about, there's a story here. There's someone that's put their life and soul into a game, or there's someone that's spent their entire life collecting a certain type of game or cataloging something that's quite unique to them. And I think that gaming is really unique in the sense that there's the people are normally of a certain ilk. I don't want to generalize too much. And that it gives them a real way to express themselves. So I'm finding the more and more I get into finding new people to speak to, is that it's not really about games at all. It's about people. And any good journalist knows that you find the story, you find the stories by finding the people, and then it's the people that tells those stories through the journalist. So it's not me that is drawn to the journalism. It's me that's drawn to the people that want to tell their stories.
That's awesome. And no mentions of drunk hedgehogs or dead bodies falling out of grandfather clocks. So I massively appreciate that. Of all of the stories you've covered that didn't include drunk hedgehogs and bodies falling out of grandfather clocks, what would you say would be the favorite one, your favorite game, or your favorite person you've got to interview?
Definitely. Recently, I got to interview Craig Stitt, who was one of the lead artists on Sonic 2, which was just like, oh my God, mind blown. And then he very kindly come back and he'd come on a live stream to chat about Spyro, which was even better. So I got Craig Stitt twice for the price of one, and he might come back and do Ratchet and Clank as well. So I made a new friend. One of my, at the end, I remember seeing his name on the credits for Sonic 2 and getting to speak to him and hear his stories was just absolutely mind blowing. I was like awestruck at first, but I had to be like the professional. But I was just like, oh my God, you made Sonic 2, please just, and it was amazing. And he's such a good sport, and he takes all the time in the world. And that has been the highlight of my career so far, I'd say, is working with Craig Stitt to put out some quite amazing content, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, and it's always wonderful when you get to work with your heroes, and also when you meet your heroes and they are genuinely lovely as well. I had a similar experience when I first met Jeff Minter, who created Tempest 2000, which is one of my favorite games in the world. The fact I met him on the set for Ashen's and the Polybius heist was just kind of like a bit of a mind-blown moment. I was just standing there. I was just standing there going like, I know that person. And then my friend leant over and went, yeah, that is Jeff Minter. And I was just like, I need to go and say hello, and sort of got pushed across the set. And absolutely wonderful, lovely, down-to-earth human being, which only, as you say, with the stories of people, one of the reasons I like doing interviews and things as well is, the people stories are sometimes very fascinating, and it is sometimes really lovely to see that your favorite games were created by a lovely person as well. So
Totally.
always good fun. Let me throw out just a random question just to everybody, which would just be, where did your love for gaming start? What was your first console, your first game? Pick on Kim first.
Okay.
'Cause it's traditional.
It's just traditional, isn't it? I started out with the ZX Spectrum, like probably about 1990. I was very young. Parents did buy me one, luckily enough. And yeah, I think they meant for me to like use like the coding side of it and stuff like that. I think that's what they wanted me to do because I was apparently I was really smart when I was young. I was like reading newspapers and that I was probably just imitating me dad or whatever. But no, instead I got into the games instead. I think the first game I played, I can't actually remember. It might have been something like not something any good, like Postman Pat probably, which is like it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto in Greendale, only you just crash a lot. There's no actual pedestrians that you can run over. You just crash and die. It's really not good. Or Monte Carlo Casino, learning how to gamble at a really young age. That's a skill that's not benefited me at all later in life.
Yeah, people complaining about sort of loot boxes in games now should probably show some of those cassette tapes that we used to load up as kids.
Yeah. And so loads of the games, kind of Dizzy as well. I think was kind of the first game I kind of remember like, yeah, this is really good. And yeah, just kind of went from there. All like games of like cover tapes of like magazines like Your Sinclair and Crash. Those were very influential on me because that's right at the end of the spectrum. So you could get these tapes which like had like 6-7 programs on it for like nothing.
Yeah.
So and a lot of them were like classics. So I was very quickly like drawn into the world of Spectrum and just it's been gaming ever since, really. And yes, that is an old rec shirt, Lucan.
Did you ever do any of the coding?
No. Actually, well, I did actually go through like because Spectrum did have a nice thick menu like this is a +2, so it did have lots of examples. I think I might have done Teletennis at one point, just copying the code out. I think I did that. That was the best thing. That was my high watermark.
Got their money's worth with getting you to learn coding then there.
Oh, 100%. But then I spent all that money on the corner shop on hit squad titles.
worthy use. Ara, what was it that drew you into gaming? What was your first games?
I was actually introduced to gaming by my mum. She had bought a Tandy system, which is like an Intellivision system for my dad, who played it a little bit, but not much. So she tested me out with it when I was really, really young. So it was essentially Pong with the lovely little dial controllers. And yeah, we spent hours on that thing. It had a shooting mode with a gun. I think it's still in my mum's loft. I'm going to have to get up there and have a look. After that, it was a BBC Micro with the text-based games, which was great fun. And then after that, it was a Master System for things like Altered Beast and Sonic, and all the good stuff that means you actually have full-on fights with your sister over who's having a go, and controllers become weapons.
In game or out of game fights?
Oh, definitely out of game. Right. Definitely. We still cannot play Worms together 30 years on because it gets way too serious. And the last time somebody, I'm not naming names, may have hit somebody else with a PlayStation 1 controller.
Was it you?
It might have been me.
Okay.
We've all done it.
Everyone quietly back away from Ara. She's holding a controller.
Yeah, just don't give me a controller, you'll be fine.
Now I know why you prefer the slightly smaller controllers. It's because they're more aerodynamic for throwing at people.
Yes, you can get a good spin on them.
Yeah, they're more dense in the weight, so you get better angle. That's
exactly
what it is. I mean, I have been strangled with my own hair once when playing a game of Street Fighter 2, so I can relate to the victims that you have attacked with controllers, because I was being very, very spammy with Chun-Li on purpose because I thought I was funny, and my best friend sort of just took one look at me in my very long ponytail that went down to sort of like I could almost sit on it level, and just put that straight around my neck, and then we weren't allowed to play Street Fighter 2 anymore. So that went well. So definitely is an ongoing issue. I do like to sort of stand up against the computer games cause violence thing though. So yeah, I may need to retract that from the official record. So Tamaracade.
All I can say is FIFA 2000.
What were the games that got you into gaming? Did they ever cause any real world fights?
Probably. I can't actually remember what game came first, because I was like so young. I was, I couldn't have been older than like 2 years old, because it was the Nintendo Entertainment System. We had a NES. The family had it. Might have even had it before I was born. Like, I don't really know. I've asked like family members about it before, but like it seems no one can really remember like when they got it. We had 5 games. I think it was 5. Well, we had Mario and Duck Hunt. So that's the back-end. So it was probably one of those. I used to be a kid playing Duck Hunt with the gun right up against the screen and just my dad said that once apparently he used to just like come in and see me just with the gun against the screen just shooting, and then I'd just turn around and laugh. So we had that. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Galaxy 5000, and McDonald Land. There was one time when I sort of caused some trouble with that game because my brother had been playing it for ages, had gotten right to the last level, and then for some reason, little kid me thought it'd be a funny idea to go up and push the reset button.
Oh. Oh.
Is that when the controllers get thrown?
I think that's when the TV gets thrown.
Needless to say, he wasn't happy.
Are you on speaking terms now?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I was wondering where that story could go at that point, because being that I also, nearly died in my gaming story, we haven't heard from any of Ara's victims, so I'm assuming they are as per Rusty Lake characters and somewhere in grandfather clocks. So it is good that we have a possibly happy ending with only minor injuries in the case of your fights. Retro Faith, what games got you into gaming? Where did you start?
Yeah, I say okay. So I started in the 80s again, similar with others with 8-bit computers. We had a Commodore 64 was the very first one, and I liked it and I played it. I still haven't completed Last Ninja 2 to my shame, but it wasn't really something I got into. It was more my older brother that was into it. I played it and I had some fun. I remember the Gaza 2 game was good and a few others, the Batman game. But it wasn't until Christmas 1991 when my dad pulled out a present for me and my older brother, which was a Mega Drive with Sonic 1 and Mega Games 1. And moments of that being plugged in. I played Sonic in June 91 in Boots. Anyone that's from the UK remember when Boots used to sell games? And there was I played it for a few minutes thinking what's going on. I'm very, quite young. I was used to a computer keyboard rather than a controller, but it didn't matter. I didn't really think much of it. And then when we got one for Christmas, the funny thing was, we actually had to play it on a black and white telly at first because my mum thought that putting consoles into the TV would break them, right? Because my mum was just one of those mums that's like, no, you can't touch anything. So we had to use this old black and white telly that my nan had gave us years ago. So we were only allowed to play it on the weekend. So Friday night when we come back from school, we'd be allowed to play the Mega Drive on a black and white telly till Sunday night when it got put away. So for the first few months, I had to play Sonic in black and white. And even still to this day, every now and again, when I'm playing Sonic, I will put the telly into black and white. I can play it better. I can play it better in black and white. My speed runs are amazing in black and white. So
really, top tip.
So yeah, because you haven't got the colors flashing on. You can see the pixels a lot clearer because they're just grey.
So there we go.
But that was when it got excited for me, and I never looked back. I've still got my original copies of Sonic from when I was a kid. I've always bought Sonic games. I've been collecting them. I'd say collecting them properly since about 1999. Yeah, I've still got my original. I bought that on Sonic Tuesday.
That's my ones from when I was a kid.
That was my Christmas present in '92, and I've never looked back. And I've just always loved Little Blue Hedgehog, and that's it. And everything Sega really, and Neo Geo. That's another secret passion, as well as a PC strategy games as well. I got my first PC, but I convinced my dad in the end of the '90s that a PC for schoolwork was a really good idea, even though I think he knew as well as I knew there was going to be no homework done on it. And I realized later on that he wanted it to look at porn because the internet was a new thing, which we found out later, and he didn't know anything about histories. Anyway, but I wanted it obviously to play games. So then, I got into PC strategy games, which is another thing I don't really do much in terms of content creating, but it's something I play like Heroes Might Magic, Command and Conquer, those kind of games a lot on my own. Well, I'm starting to realize I did my first stream for Heroes 2 on a DOS emulator yesterday, and it went really well. So people are like, do more of this, Faith. We don't want to see more Sonic. We want to see this. So, yes.
They want to see a mix of the two, trying a way to find a way to mod a black and white version of Sonic into those games, and then you've got all bases covered at that point.
Turn the saturation to 0 on the emulator.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've learned some top tips there for Sonic speedrunning, and also why the Retro Fave household got their first computer, which is good. I like the way there is just no question that isn't going to have at least something to surprise me in the answer. I'm almost scared to ask another question at this point. I shall ask you guys one more, and then I'm going to throw it out to the lovely guys in chat. So if you guys start thinking of some questions at this point, as long as they're gaming related, they can be fairly weird and wacky, I would suspect. Start putting those in chat, and we will start going through as many of those as we can. So we've looked at where you started off in gaming. I would like to know a little bit about something you are playing now, or would like to play now, be that a retro or a modern title. Kim, what's next on your hit list to play?
Next on my hit list to play, well, I mean, most of the time is spent playing stuff for like video. Like I spent like last week playing like loads of C64 games just because it's like, oh, I'll do a top 50. Been playing lots. The cool thing about that's been kind of one of the cool things about doing streaming actually, because I get to play stuff that's not necessarily going to end up in a video at some point. So stuff I've been playing recreationally. I did get a bit into the Fall Guys craze. As Stu said,
I wasn't expecting that answer. You surprised me there.
Yeah, no, I did get a bit into. I got a bit pissed off with it in the end because of all the cheats, but apparently they've stopped having them now.
Yeah, they're doing patches and stuff to it. I'm now really the only person not playing that game. Even all the other exclusive retro gamers are now playing it.
I don't play it.
No.
Okay. Ooh, excellent. Okay, I feel slightly less FOMO. So,
in fact, I'm the only person here who's played it.
Okay, that's good. I'm normally the odd one out for the other reason.
I do want to play Spelunky too, but I'm still on an old version of Windows. It's like now it's like my computer suddenly embarrassingly cannot run an indie game that's just 2D. It's like, great, it's time to upgrade. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Exciting. It's going to keep you fairly busy. Ara, I know one of the games you've been playing a lot recently, which is one where I've now learned that you are exceptionally good at murdering people, even if they're sat in the room next to you. Would you like to give that context or leave it hanging?
Yeah, I feel I should apologise to Miggy Man again for the fact that I got him kicked out of the spaceship in Among Us by murdering somebody when I was stood right next to him and then lying and saying he did it. I also want to say hi to Lady Decade because I noticed she's in chat.
Oh,
yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Lady Decade.
Yeah, we're playing a lot of Among Us at the moment as a community sort of let's kill everyone and get all our frustrations out. It's like a therapy session.
A violent, murdery, cartoon-based therapy session.
I mean, it's just too much fun not to.
It looks a good laugh, it has to be said.
You're going to have to join us at some point, Kim.
Definitely.
Definitely. Come and join us. I wanted to find out how good of a liar you are.
I
usually get
terrifying.
too excited and kill someone in front of someone else.
It is terrifying to suddenly sort of sit there, especially when I've got a few streams open and I can see sort of like if there's something there and like someone else is playing it, and then I can see you sitting there going, oh no, who did that? And I'm like, she sounds completely innocent, and literally there's just blood everywhere, pixelated blood everywhere, and like an evil grin on Ara's face. Who could have possibly done that?
Literally up to my knees in somebody's corpse going, what? I didn't see anything.
It was like that when I got here.
Exactly. Just walked in and there was a dead body here. Other than that, I am between games at the moment. I finished Lancelot's Hangover on my last stream and started playing a lovely dating sim called Kitty Powers Matchmaker. Which was interesting. A drag queen's dating agency.
Okay, I thought they were going to be cats, so...
No.
Again, expectations subverted. They could be drag queen cats. That's the sequel.
There's an idea.
There we go.
There's the sequel.
That's
you can have that idea for free.
Thank you very much. I will mention it to Kitty. But yeah, my lot really got behind that, and we learned that I should never give dating advice, ever. and that I don't understand that meatloaf has meat in it, and I ordered it for a vegetarian. Don't go on a date with me. It won't end well. You'll probably go hungry. So yeah, I've got a couple of point and click games to choose from, so I might do a poll on Twitter or something and find something out, because there's just so many point and clicks, not enough time.
Yeah, and I feel we're at the point where you need to discover the weirdest point and click game ever created.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if people start developing them specifically with you in mind at this point.
Exactly. If anyone's got any suggestions for weird point and clicks, hit me up on Twitter.
If you haven't played Cool World, I'd suggest that to add to the list.
Oh, I will add that to the list then. Thank you.
That is very good. That's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit style mix of live action and cartoons, and that's been around. That's a 90s game, which is on my list that I still haven't played as well.
And terrible film.
Am I thinking of Toonstruck, which I confuse with Cool World? I'm wrong. I'm wrong live on air. It's Toonstruck I'm thinking
I
of.
do have Toonstruck in my library, so
yeah, which is like the game equivalent of Cool World, which is like, yeah, that's where my brain has gone. I can't separate them. I can't separate them.
Not terrible.
Which is not terrible. Okay, Kim has retracted the terrible statement. Okay. I've not played or seen either. They're both on my list. So before I continue to dig myself a hole there, not being able to tell my, these incredibly different live action and cartoon animated weird things apart. Tamaracade, what are you playing at the moment, or what have you got coming up you'd like to play?
I've been playing a lot of Super Mario Brothers 35. I've gotten quite addicted to that recently on the Switch.
Yeah, that just launched, didn't it?
Yeah. So, it's pretty fun. There's a special battle on at the moment where it gets pretty brutal, where the screen just fills up with Lakitus and they're just throwing spinies everywhere, and it's just an absolute nightmare. But then if you get a POW block and they will just go, and then they send to someone else, that could be quite satisfying.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been playing it because it's literally the only competitive online game ever that I've been any good at. So
that's a good reason to continue then.
Yeah, I might have a bit of an advantage being as I've been playing, the game it's based on since I was pretty much an embryo. So
without even any fingers, that's impressive credentials. That's impressive credentials.
Just a few cells.
Yeah.
A zygote.
Well, I can't beat that for gaming dedication, having started before they were even born with a NES that just materialized in their house that their parents aren't sure how it got there, and now can defeat 35 Marios on the Switch, terrifying all other retro gamers in their wake, I am assuming.
Maybe it was a pregnancy.
I like it.
I don't have my sound effects to do the appropriate sound effect for that, but we're all thinking it. We're all
beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful.
I hate you, but I also love you for that.
Oh my goodness. So, Retro Faith, when you're not making incredible puns, what game are you playing, or what would you like to be playing?
At the moment, I'm playing a lot of Sea of Thieves. Very quick backstory to that. Me and my brother love pirates, and he lives the other side of the country. Where I live in London, he lives in Cornwall. So because it's an online game, we can play together and spend some time together, which is great. So I play that all the time. I play Phantasy Star Online constantly on the GameCube. Take my Sega card away now, just because it works better online. And I'm currently playing Grandia 2 through on the Dreamcast. And that's our regular stream where the regulars get to pick what game I play for a couple of hours every week. And I think after that, I think they want Final Fantasy VII, but I'm a bit like, I want something a bit that we've never played before. So I'm hoping that I can coincide it. Is it Dragons? I'm trying to think what it is. It's a new one that's come out, or it's not a new one. And it's totally and utterly Dragon something 11. Oh, someone remind me. It's an RPG. Dragon Quest 11, yeah, and that's had a remake or a remaster on Xbox Live or something. So probably that next. I like the look of it. I've got it queued up on my PC, and I keep clicking on it, and it says, "You're too early. You can't play it yet." And it's like, why is it downloaded then? Yeah. So Dragon's Quest 11, because I've never played a Dragon's Quest game to my shame. So.
Yeah. Well, presumably, one would hope they're quite decent, being that they have now made 11 of them. So let's hope that is good.
Hopefully,
that's what they said about Dizzy, though, isn't it, Kim?
You take that back right now.
While I break up the
How dare you.
impending fight, get some questions in chat that I can distract these guys from before we have anyone throwing controllers across Zoom at each other, because it is completely likely. So if you have any questions, please start populating them into chat. No, just I see people yelling fight. No, we're not encouraging them to fight. We're trying to distract them from
YouTube
the
boxing
fighting.
match? I don't know.
YouTube boxing match. We've already, I've hosted panels with wrestlers challenging people to fights and things, not in game. We need to try and minimize the number of deaths. This isn't Among Us. None of us is the imposter. It's Ara. So let me take a look and see what questions are popping up. For those who are all about the retro games, what is the most nostalgic aspect you miss from back in the day? I'm assuming that isn't a typo and that's how I should have said it.
Back in
What do you miss about back in the day?
Back in the day.
Anyone want to jump in?
General lack of tutorials. I'd say I miss that. Every game having to have a tutorial. Here's how you jump. Here's how you run. It's like, fucking no. It's been in 2,000 games before now. I don't need to be told. Come on. We've been doing this since the bloody PS1 day. Stop it.
There we go. Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Carry on.
If I jump in there, I think for me, having arguments with my younger brother on Streets of Rage 2 about who got to use the Sega arcade stick or who had to use the controller.
Yeah. Yeah, when you had one good controller that came with the console and the cheap one because your parents didn't know the difference, or someone's got the 3-button controller and the other person's got the 6-button controller with the little turbo switch. Yeah, these are definitely the things. Do you guys miss the days of everything being physical media, or do you love the day of digital downloads?
Physical.
Yeah.
I'm embracing it. I've obviously loved my boxes and the smell of Neo Geo AES carts and all that sort of stuff. But I must admit, since I got the Switch, I've embraced download. And since I got Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass or whatever on my PC, I fully embraced it now. And I realised that it is the way forward. And, I think that we have to leave these things in the past, these boxes and bits of plastic and paper. And sadly, that's for our memories of the people old enough to remember them. I think kids these days, they don't care. I see them just like, they're just going to throw the boxes away now, like we used to back in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. That's my Mega Drive box there. I obsessively kept these things. I filled in the warranty card and couldn't bear to post it, so that's still in there. So normal children, yes. Me less so. I've spotted a few more questions popping up in chat. One of them said the Jaguar controller, genius or brick genius. That's not even a question. Also, did any game storyline ever make anyone cry?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
There is an amazing point-and-click puzzle game called Bear With Me, which is a black and white sort of detective noir game. Absolutely beautiful. If you've not picked it up, you really should. I highly recommend it. But there is such a twist. You think it's all taking place in this kid's imagination. Her teddy bear is the detective, and then you realise that she's not asleep. There's a slightly more sad twist to it, and yeah, it did make me cry on stream. Not too proud of it. So if you like games that make you cry, pick that up.
There we go. And there's a recommendation for tears.
Yes.
I had one recently. I downloaded a game called Ori and the Wisp or something like that. And there's a scene right at the start where you've got this little owl who can't fly. I won't spoil the story. This is literally the opening cutscene. And you've got these little friends that look like little alien people that are helping the little bird fly, like the little owl fly. And when he finally gets flying, they all get struck by lightning. And it's like, oh my God. And I was sitting in front of my PC just bawling my eyes out thinking, what is wrong with me? But it's so that it was done like a Disney movie with like the music in the background and everything. And I was just had tears rolling down my face, just thinking, this poor little, I hope he's all right. And then the game then starts and you've got to go and find the little owl. Oh, it's brilliant. I couldn't believe it. I'd never had it really be where a computer game has sort of driven me to have like a real emotional response.
I'm a heartless goth, so nothing's ever made me cry. And my favourite movie as a child, apart from Labyrinth, was Fox and the Hound. So Yeah. Have either of you guys been made to cry by a video game?
A few back in the day.
Yeah.
There's a couple of bits in the Phoenix Wright games actually got me. Some of the more emotional ones in that. Final Fantasy VII. When I was tired back in the day. Yeah, I got me.
Spoilers.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Yeah. Tamara, have you ever cried at a game or too tough?
Pretty much the only time I can remember is when one of my brothers accidentally deleted my save file on Pokemon Gold. I cried. But looking back, I probably deserved it, from...
It wasn't a revenge, it was they were playing the long game.
It was like 5 years later. He was planning
That's a long game there. They were like, I've remembered this and I'm waiting. There's nothing Tamara loves enough to delete it yet. 5 years later, I found the thing. Revenge.
1100 Typhlosion gone forever.
Drunk with the Hedgehog's been suggested as a game that you can develop tomorrow. I saw some other good questions pop by in chat. Let me quickly scroll down. Immediately someone has jumped in and said, didn't deserve that. Your game should not have been deleted. Apparently the revenge was not valid. That's good to know. Some other people saying names of games that have destroyed them in the past. Witcher 3 apparently has caused a lot of tears as well. And apparently Metal Gear Solid as well. I hadn't thought of the Metal Gear games as an emotional one.
Can love bloom even on a battlefield?
Who knew Solid Snake was an emotional person? We have a Snake. No, I need my rain scene.
Name's nothing.
We have a question. What is the best turn-based RPG or best turn-based games in general?
Oh, I know. Turn-based game, boys. It's my favourite game of all time. It's not a Sonic game, shock horror. It's Heroes of Might and Magic 2. My favourite game of all time. I've played it since the day it came out, and I play it all the time. Best turn-based game I've ever played.
There we go. I like that direct and clear answer. Undertale, people are suggesting, is another one that have made people cry as well. I think I've heard that from a few people. Who else we got? Keep putting your questions in chat as well.
For me, probably my favourite turn-based RPG would be Panzer Dragoon Saga, because it takes a very unique twist on the turn-based system. So it's not quite like the battle system's very unique to that game. So it's not just the same as everything else. So it really stands out. And I just really love that game. It's such a shame that it's never been re-released on any other platform.
They lost the code, didn't they? That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Hopefully, because they're doing there's just been the remake of the first one. Hopefully, they'll do a remake of it soon, so more people can play it.
Yeah, there is a question as well saying, what retro game would you guys like to see remade? Are you a fan of remakes, and what one would you like to see? So leading on nicely from tomorrow's answer.
Action 52.
You want Action 53? It's one more game and it's just a blank screen that says 404. It's easy to do.
It's Musa, not been shout out to Gaming Musa.
So are there any games you would actually like to see remade? Because I'm assuming it's not actually Action 52 and you don't hate us that much, Kim.
No. Probably. You know what? I'll let someone else answer because I just did the joke answer. And now I'm
and now you spent all of your energy on the humor. I'm going to say I would like to see a Golden Axe sequel made by the guys that did Streets of Rage 4.
Nice.
That would be my call, which is a sequel, not technically a remake, but close enough.
That'd be really good, actually.
And then they could do Altered Beast as well.
Altered Beast would be good in that style. For me, I think I would like to see Cool Borders 2 remade for the PlayStation, because the game itself gets really whacked by people. But I love it. I'm a big extreme sports game fan, and that's one of my favourites because it's so hard. But the graphics sucked. but the music was cool and the controls were great and all that. So I'd like them to see if we get the original guys from Web Systems to remake Core Borders 2. I think I personally would enjoy that.
Yeah, we don't see as many games which are kind of board-based games. I remember when everything was kind of skateboarding games and snowboarding games. I played a lot of SSX Tricky. That
was more of an arcadey one, whereas Core Borders was more like simulation. So it was like the difference between like Sega Soccer Slam and FIFA. Like, you know, one's trying to go for more realism, where one's just going for like an arcade. So SSX is good. I'll play that a lot, but to me, it's too arcadey. It kind of lacks that realism of actual snowboarding. But it's fun.
Where I think for me a good realistic driving game is Crazy Taxi, because it most correctly imitates my actual driving style. So it's that for me is realistic. So I think that's probably why I lean towards SSX Tricky. I think I'm going to also throw, someone said Time Splitters in chat. Definitely. Yeah. Time Splitters is an underrated game. And also Jet Set Radio.
Oh. Wow. I don't think you can make that look any better, though, because the way the graphics are, and the cell shade is, and the music is, I don't know how they would make that better.
What can
just
you
more.
do?
I just want more.
Just more colours.
Yeah.
Just more.
Just more games. They can have more colours. They can be, I mean, I know you're a fan of less colours, but we could have more colours. You can still turn the contrast down on your monitor. It works for both. It works for both. We have a question in chat that says, what content are you most proud of? If you could pick one piece.
I mean, I suppose I already said, but yeah, it would definitely be the Sensible Soccer video if I had to pick just one. Just because of all the Sensible Software video, rather, just because of all the work that I went into. I think that would have to be my pick, for sure.
All right.
I'm thinking proud might be the wrong word. Least sort of horrified to show people. And not feel I have to apologize before they watch it is probably any playthrough of the Telltale Jurassic Park game for me.
Your glee at those dinosaurs eating people is worrying.
Yes, that or my playthrough of Beyond Blue, which is an absolutely amazing game, and I got to geek out for a couple of hours just telling people random fish facts, whether they wanted to know them or not, for hours and hours on end. If you watch that stream, I'm sorry.
Though that was wonderful, because again, that's another one where I was lucky enough to, when it was in beta, I interviewed the devs and I learned a lot about it from them, and then watching you play it, I learned loads more because I appreciated the beauty of the game and the fact the data all came from Blue Planet, and there's a exclusive fact that I got out of them to do with how many stuffed bunny rabbits technically you can fit inside of the little underwater pod. That was how they measured the size of it, which made me happy for days. But to hear your in-depth knowledge of everything else added a whole new dimension, really, to the game, which was cool. How about you, Tamara?
There's a few. I'm quite proud of my last one that I did, which is the video that I did on Snappy, Das Kleine Krokodil 3 Fun Games, which is the last PS1 game ever made. Just because I think that on the technical side, I've sort of come a long way with that video. I think it's got the best audio quality, and the bits to camera have better lighting and stuff like that. But I also think that I put a lot of good funny bits in there. People seem to quite like the tree milk guy, so that's all good. Another one that I'm really proud of is the one that I did on the BBC Bridge Companion, which was an absolutely awful console that doesn't even have any sound. Again, just because I just had fun with that. I also also had a special guest appearance from Retro Man Cave in that video, so it was amazing to have a collaboration with someone who
legend to me. Hello, cave dwellers.
Bridge dwellers in that one, presumably.
This bridge was brought to you by monsterjoysticks.com.
What was it made with? Genuine Samurai arcade parts, etc.
There was no genuine Samurai arcade parts on the BBC Bridge Companion.
But you still got him to do a cameo. That says something about how awesome you are as a content creator, because normally if there's no Samurai arcade parts, he won't go near it.
You just tell you to get out.
Yeah. It's like a British person turning up to the house and you've got no tea for them. It's that, but with some
You do
arcade
not-
parts, which is slightly less reasonable.
You do not depart from this premises now.
So yeah, it is good to see like when you have evolved in your content and things. And I think Tamara, your videos from the get-go had a really nice flow to them and style, and the little bits of humor were always good. So
Thank you very
I'm
much.
glad you're feeling more proud of them. But yeah, when we had you on the panel last time and you were still quite new to YouTube, your videos were already looking pretty polished.
Oh, thank
So
you.
looking forward to more of those. Retro Faith, what would you say is the content you're most proud of?
Okay, I'll stick with the video theme because you know, I'm probably more proud of some of the articles I've written in the past. But if sticking with the YouTubey, Twitchy stuff, I'd say probably it was either a toss up between my review of Xeno Crisis on the Dreamcast or my review of Streets of Rage 4. I'm going to go over my review of Streets of Rage 4 because the research I went into that and the editing, I felt it come out really well, and it was a good like a backstory to the development before we got to the review, which I was really proud of, and that's probably the best video I've done. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We have another question, which is, what are your guilty pleasure games? I mean, I don't have any guilt, so like I don't know if I can really answer that one myself.
I mean, there's like I probably love like old trivia games like on the Spectrum, like pub trivia, way too much because there's just like it's got such a ridiculous seedy late 80s viz atmosphere about them, and the questions are all completely outdated. So in a sense, they become nostalgic. It's like who recently had a top 10 hit with "When Will I Be Famous?"
Who's recently in the charts with "Achy Breaky Heart"? Is this why you're so amazing at quizzes, Kim? Because we always try and get you on my team whenever I do any of the retro gaming quiz events. Is this where this epic knowledge comes from?
I've just been spending hours honing my skills on Pub Trivia Simulator by Codemasters on the Spectrum.
Yeah, it explains why your knowledge never goes past like 1987 as well. Just stop, the world just doesn't exist beyond that point.
Nothing good was made after 1987.
Fair enough. I think it's a controversial statement, but we're just going to go with it for now. Has anyone else got any guilty pleasure games?
Yeah, I've got one. I mean, a game that gets kind of derided quite a lot. I'll take it back to Sonic. It's Sonic 3D on the Mega Drive, not the Saturn version, because that's quite well thought of. But I really like that. I even when I played it as a kid, I thought it was really good for some reason. It wasn't until the interwebs come about that I realized that people thought it was rubbish, and I'm like, but I play it quite a lot. I like maybe a couple of times a year, and I think what it is, people just think it's hard. So when they find out I like it, they're like, how could you like that game and sit and play the whole thing? But I don't know. I think the opposite. That's probably my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's another one that makes your list tomorrow.
Yeah, so I like that, but I wouldn't consider it guilty because, like, I think it's too good to be guilty. You know, I got that game for my 7th birthday, so I remember getting it. So it always has a really nice place in my heart. But a game that is kind of a bit of a guilty pleasure. If anyone's ever played Super Altered Beast on the MSX, it was a dodgy bootleg made by this Korean studio. And yeah, it's pretty funny, just like the faces that they make when they when you transform. Yeah, you need to see it for yourself. It's a
future video in the making there, maybe just capturing the facial expressions of the characters, making them into modern day memes. A kind of, I guess, possibly vaguely adjacent question. Biggest gaming disappointment? Was there any game you ever got and you were just sorely disappointed with it? Or were you like me and just anything that made pixels move on screen was some kind of miracle, therefore everything was magic?
The newest Strider game.
No,
it was. I was very much hoping for a classic in the arcade Mega Drive form, like the more straight ahead with loads of stunts and that, and instead it was the bloody shite NES game. Nope, off.
No. Anyone else got any games that they were disappointed with or were different than they expected?
Yeah, I'll go with a slightly more more modern one, I had a quick bash on that Battletoads game earlier because I love Battletoads. And they've sort of, it's not a remake at all, it is like a new game, but I kind of just didn't really get where they were going with it. And I felt there was too much emphasis on humor than actually a game. So I was disappointed with that because I'm a big fan of Battletoads. I like try to sit and complete it often. So that was one recently I was very disappointed with.
I played through Battletoads recently as well, and I have to admit I enjoyed playing it because the experience of playing it was fun, but I get what you mean with the excessive dialogue, and it was a bit all over the place. And there was one level where you had to fall through all those little spiky things, and I did think a controller was going to go through the TV. Not me, by the way. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm looking at Zombie Workshop. It might have been him. But for me, I really wanted to like, but couldn't. Mass Effect, the first one, the controls in it were horrible.
Oh, never done
And I
it.
hated it, couldn't do it. So as a result, I've not played any of the others because I feel like I need to play the first one to do the others.
Yeah, continuous storyline type situation. Yeah, that makes sense. And that could be quite difficult if the controls on something prevent you kind of getting into the first one. You feel a bit locked out from the others. Tamara, you only had any?
That too,
yeah.
Like not massively. But one that comes to mind is probably I won't really say it's like a huge disappointment, but Armored Core 4 on the PS3. I just didn't think it was as good as the previous ones, really.
Yeah,
That's
and sometimes games are fine, but if they don't exceed the game before, like sort of, Streets of Rage 3, it's not a terrible game, but it isn't Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah,
it's too bloody hard in the Western version as well. The Japanese version is fucking awesome. Still.
Yeah.
But yeah, they ruined it. I think because they wanted people to not complete it on a rental. So it's just like, we're going to make it super hard.
Destroyed a few games every now and again. Rise of the Robots didn't need that. People mentioning that in chat, they did that all on their own. I can see people saying that I have no guilt. Yes, I have no guilty pleasures. I'm perfectly happy with all of the terrible things that I like and all of the terrible movies I like, and
such as the Jaguar.
Yeah, I'm a proud Atari Jaguar fan. If you're going to ask me about disappointment in gaming, I'm the wrong person to ask, really.
The Jaguar's good.
I like the Jaguar. I can walk on tanks. That's it. That was my dream come true. That was the one item on my bucket list was tick. I could die happy now. I've trodden on tanks. So let's see if we have any other questions in chat. Dream collaboration or guest for your content? Who would you like to work with?
I'm just going to say it because everybody's going to be disappointed if I don't say it. It's not gaming related at all, but I can't not say Nathan Fillion. I just can't. And I'm just going to go with 4 reasons.
For reasons you don't need to explain.
Exactly.
I'm sure your desktop wallpaper would explain it nicely, and there's a reason why the camera's never pointed at that.
Restraining order. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to have framed on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they sign it and everything, yeah. So Nathan Fillion, just because. I mean, you could always make it into a video about Firefly.
I could get him to dress up as Nathan Drake.
Yeah, exactly. That makes it legitimate content and not just just your birthday.
Fantasy. Yeah.
Is there a woman here, or is it just me?
There must be something weird going on with the temperature controls on that particular Zoom window. Kim, do you have anyone that is kind of a dream collaboration or someone you'd like to work with?
Actually, going back to Jeff Minter, I'd love to get down to the farm and do a video about Jeff Minter and his sheep. That'd be pretty.
I like how vague that is. Just
Jeff Minter and the sheep. Just even I can just, because Jeff Minter always does like morning sheep time on Twitch. That's just most relaxing. Even if I could just be there, just in the background, just admiring the process.
It does, and you'd think that wouldn't be fun or interesting, but
Mm.
the lovely Jeff Minter just doing the Twitter lives, walking around with the camera and just saying hi to the sheep and the llamas and things is just literally the content you need with breakfast every day. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
perfect morning viewing.
It sounds like, you know,
I
it
mean,
would be
what-
so mundane,
what-
but it is not. It's
What do you
wonderful.
watch? What do you want to watch? Piers fucking Morgan or Jeff Minter feeding sheep? I rest my case.
If that's the
Sheep.
choice, yeah. I think we're all sold. There's llamas in Jeff Minter's videos, so I mean, that's a bonus on top of it, if nothing else. Tamara, is there anyone you would love to work with next, having already had one awesome collaboration?
Like so many, basically. To be honest, I'd really like to do more collaborations because I've only like really done one. I'm just usually quite nervous when it comes to like asking because I'm just. But well, I mean, anyone in this stream, I'd love to do that. So
Thank you.
if anyone wants to, yeah, and then loads of other, retro YouTubers and things that, pretty much anyone really.
Welcoming to all.
Yes.
It's not that the bar is low, it's that the doors are open.
Yes.
That's how we phrase that. So if anyone would like to work with anyone on the stream, then definitely start popping them a message or tagging them. Retro Faith, is there anyone that you would like to work with on an upcoming project?
Yeah, when I first heard the question, my head said Yuji Naka to talk about Sonic, but then in my heart of hearts, I know that probably wouldn't be the best because he's apparently a bit of a nasty person to work with. But in my heart of hearts, I'd say Kevin Smith, because the hours of entertainment I've had watching his films and reading his comics and everything else, and listening to his podcasts, and he's just generally a super funny, approachable guy. And I think in the perfect collaboration would be interviewing Kevin Smith and maybe making up some funny video or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and Jason Mewes is now also like streaming on Facebook.
Oh, Jason Mewes,
playing games. So yeah, they could have both of them and play some games and talk some films and things. That would be
awesome.
That would be pretty damn cool. So yeah, we have already filled our entire allotted time for today. You guys are absolutely awesome. I apologize to anyone whose questions we haven't got to in chat, but hopefully we will get to do this panel again at another time in future, hopefully at another live event where we'll be able to see your lovely faces as well. So thank you to all of my wonderful, wonderful guests for joining. Please, can you type the word clap or something appropriate with is correct for this shit in chat for Kim Justice, Aravelle, Tamaracade, and Retro Faith, and let them know that they are all very much appreciated. And I'd like to say as well, thank you for Replay Events for letting us host the panels online. And of course, huge thank you to RetroUnlim for organising all of this, fighting with all the tech demons and ensuring that we could continue to bring you some awesome retro gaming goodness. Thank you to you guys as well. You absolutely rock. And we hope to see you all again soon. Take care.
Bye. Bye.